Call.
Chisel. Neal.
Here.
Olson.
Here.
Luce.
Here.
Zittergruen.
Here.
Hadley.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
The years of service pin. Is Carrie working? Because we have 3.
2 out of 4. All right. Miss Mandy, will you come up here?
Hey, do you want to go to the microphone?
Sure.
That'd be great.
Okay. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Chief Tyne with the Decorah Police Department, and I wanted to take this opportunity to present Captain Growth with her Years of Service pin from the city of Decorah, and to present her with the Certificate of Gratitude Award. So it just says, to Mandy Growth, in recognition and appreciation of your outstanding commitment to public safety from June 6, 2003 to June 6, 2023. Thank you for 20 years of impeccable service to the city of Decorah and the citizens of our community. Your dedication and service are greatly appreciated. And wanted to let you know, as well, as a newcomer coming in, you have made this transition so easy, and your dedication to the people that you serve is just very apparent every day, so I appreciate you. Thank you. No glare on.
Jeremy?
Look, no crutches.
Should let me go first, I think. Thanks a lot, Chief. So we're here to recognize Chris Ness. Yes, he's been here for 35 years. Sorry, it's actually 36 in 2 weeks. He corrected me. Started with Summers, am I correct? Back
83.
Yeah, I won't tell you when I was born, Chris, but we'll keep it at that. But no, Chris has been he's a local, a native, Decorah native, been obviously here for several decades, and great resource for us at the shop. He knows it all, so appreciative for him. And 35 years is impressive, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you to both of them, and also to the other ones that are being recognized as well with pins in the individual departments. Okay. Yes.
Mayor, we figured that we better announce the other two.
Thank you.
Jason Hovey with the Water Department for 10 years, and then Scott Vanderkool, the campground, 10 years.
Okay. Is there anyone who wishes to approach the council on something that is not on the agenda? Hearing, seeing none, consent agenda.
Item A, minutes of the August 7th, 2023 regular meeting. B, claims. C, September 5th, 2023 as the next council meeting due to the holiday. D, Quick Star number 1190 College Drive tobacco permit. E, special event permit Art House Run. F, special event permit Sugar Bowl Sock Hop in the Street Car Show. G, Iowa Civil Rights Commission Cooperative Agreement. H, resolution setting public hearing on rezoning of business park property, or villa property. I, resolution setting public hearing for the Decorah 2023 Miller Park Trail Improvements Project. J, amendment Class C retail alcohol license with outdoor service, Impact Coffee. K, new Class C retail alcohol license with outdoor service, Traveling Tapster. L, renewal Class C retail alcohol license with outdoor service, JT Haymarket LLC.
Luce would move the consent agenda for approval.
Second.
Hadley has a question after you say your words.
Thank you. Motion made by Luce, seconded by Olson. Questions?
Traveling Tapster app. I know with other outdoor service areas that we, in the C3 at least, we have them have a defined area with a fence or a or a barricade of some sort indicating the zone of their outdoor service area, right?
So I've heard that before, but I don't believe that exists in code, correct, John?
I think that what I recall, I don't recall it being in the code. It seemed to me we talked about it, or the council talked about it at one point as part of the application, maybe?
I don't know. I always just thought it was law, which is why we have like the Nordic Fest beer garden area with wristband control, or Impact has their barricades and kind of defining where you can and cannot be for service area. So you're just saying that it's not part of state code?
So state code requires they define a service area, but that does not require an actual physical barricades of sorts. You don't have to do fencing, but they do have to define the service area.
Okay, so I didn't look at the app, but is Traveling Tapster a mobile alcohol truck?
It's the one that goes to a lot of times Rendered Unique. I know has used them in the past. Carrie, do you recall which one this application's for?
No, it's a, no. I can look it up if you want to.
Yeah, if you would.
And when they're
So-
on rendered unique, I believe they're.
Randy, if you're talking to me, you're gonna have to use your mic.
There's something in there.
Right.
Yeah. Did
So
you have
typically
something?
the alcohol ones don't have an actual paper. There's nothing in packet, nothing in background. Traveling Tapster is the one that it's all, they don't sell it out of the window like a food truck, but they bring that service to a private residence or a private entity. Rendered Unique's the one I know that's used it in the past. I want to say like a Pheasants Forever have used them as well, an organization like that.
What prevents them from having open container on public streets, essentially?
State law and city ordinance.
Right, so we just assume that they follow that because they're inside wherever is hiring them?
Correct. And even if they don't, it's still a violation of our ordinance and state law, especially if it's liquor. Even if city code allowed for open consumption of beer and wine, you cannot allow open consumption of liquor.
So traveling Tapster is traveling, this would be, Class C would be beer and wine?
Carrie's gonna go, she's gotta go to her office to pull it up.
Okay. That would be my only, of the consent agenda, that would be the only one I would have a question on, approving just tacit approval.
Yeah, because the Class C retail should be hard liquors as well.
Okay, well then that means that we probably need to do a better job of describing what people can and can't do if they have Traveling Tapster come to an event in downtown or at a park or.
So I do want to reiterate, Traveling Tapster, it's not like a food truck where people throw, like, are slinging drinks out of a food truck window. They bring the bar to the location. Yeah,
okay.
it's like catering almost.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry. No, it's not like a food truck or anything like that. Correct.
Okay,
No,
all right.
No. Correct.
Okay.
This may
Not
really.
what I thought it was.
Randy, can you please use your mic? I can't hear you if you don't use your mic.
I just said it can't be used on public property, then it has to go onto private land, so if I wanted to have a party, I could do it. Bring them in, they'd set up in my driveway, and we'd have the party in the backyard.
Mike,
They're a caterer, not a food truck. Kind of, an alcohol caterer.
And then it gives the property owner or the party thrower dram shop insurance and all of that, so that you're not liable for.
Right, and this is also for sale, alcohol and stuff. So if I'm holding a private party and I have it just for consumption, not for sale, alcohol license is not required. And so this is one of the means, if you are selling or want to sell to raise funds or things like that, You hire them to bring the whole outfit along with their dram shop and their liquor license if approved.
Well, my question just, which is probably really sort of stupid, why would you have to approve this if they're going to a private place on private property and doing what they're doing?
It's like a bar. It's a sale of alcohol.
Okay, thank you.
A Class C retail alcohol license is for taverns, bars, restaurants, etc. Allows commercial establishments to sell alcohol, liquor, wine, and beer on premises consumption. Allows carry-out sales of liquor, wine, beer, and mixed drinks or cocktails. Also allows for the special Class A sub-permit for a brew pub. I haven't seen one yet.
309 Eastwater is the address Carrie just read.
Serving drinks for Jamie Govley of Rendered Unique for their fall festival.
Okay. Okay, any further discussion? Roll call?
Luce,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Chisel,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Zittergruen,
Aye.
Hadley,
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Motion carried. Consider ordinance amending Title 17 zoning of the municipal code of the city of Decorah related to section 17.53.020, storage on residential properties, second reading. You had any comments since we met the
No.
last time?
No, we have not received any comments from this. Again, this is the section that would allow for storage containers to be used as a construction material in residential zoning. It does reference the International Building Code 2021 edition. The specific chapter related to storage containers would apply. Decorah's Building Code references 2015 edition, and the 2015 does not have that in it. Let's see, as well as the code requirements of 2021. We also emphasize, even though it's in the code, we emphasize that the exterior will have exterior wall coverings and a roof covering, so you can't just put a storage container in the backyard and call it an ADU. Still has to be sided and roofed.
Hadley will move the ordinance amending Title 17, zoning code 1753.020, second reading.
Second.
Who did it? Randy, did you second him? Yes. Okay, any further discussion? Roll call?
Hadley,
Aye.
Chisel, Neal,
Yeah, aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Luce,
Aye.
Zittergruen,
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
I'd move to waive the third reading and adopt.
Second.
Randy, you gotta use your mic.
It is.
I can't hear you.
Okay, so Randy moved, and who seconded?
I did, Mayor.
Okay. Sittergruen, second to move to waive and adopt. Any discussion? Roll call?
Chisel,
Aye.
Zittergruen,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Luce,
Aye.
Hadley,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Consider an ordinance, chapter 22.02 of the municipal code of the city of Decorah regarding mayor and council compensation, second reading. Can I get background on that?
Yes. So at the last council meeting, council was presented with a draft that had fill-in-the-blank sections, and after discussion, it was motion second and approved first reading to have $50 per meeting for council members, including work sessions and committees of the whole, whereas before it was $50 for regular and special meetings, and it did not count those work sessions. And also included increasing the compensation of the mayor from $4,800 annually to $5,200 annually, recognizing that that position's not paid on a per meeting basis.
Did the wording on that say $50 for all council meetings of a whole?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
And have you had any comments
We have
on
not.
this?
We have not.
I'll move for approval.
Lewis with second.
Motion made by Johnson, seconded by Olson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Johnson,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Luce,
Aye.
Zittergrund,
Aye.
Hadley,
Aye.
Chisel, Neal.
Okay, we'll have the third reading.
Hi, Randy,
Thank you.
please use your mic. If yours isn't working, use mine.
Lights on. I said no.
Consider an ordinance amending Chapter 9.30 Liquor and Intoxication of the Municipal Code of the City of Decorah, requiring patrons to be 21 years old or older. First reading. Could you just lay out for discussion as far as tabling or making a motion in concerning this, so that that's clear? Because I know at the last one, we had some issues with that.
Yep, so like, similar to the mayor council compensation discussion at the last meeting, this is drafted as an ordinance for consideration, but certainly in a motion to table, it doesn't require a vote today. So this is an ordinance, again, that's been drafted for council's discussion. You can approve the first reading, you can motion to table. If you're so inclined, you could even motion to approve and then vote no. But again, any motion that's not a table, please make it in the affirmative.
I got
What if,
Okay, just a
Yeah,
minute.
you recomm-
Emily,
oh.
Emily, just a minute. I'll call on you in just a minute.
okay,
Okay. Move your mic closer to you.
My question is, how does this impact, like a tea box or other establishments like that that are bar and grills?
So our code also addresses that. It's not being proposed as amended, so that's one of the reasons it's not in the background notes. This applies to bars, which over 50% of their revenue derives from the sale of alcohol. So it would not apply to a tea box or a Rubaiyat or other places that more than 50% of their sales are non-alcohol related.
And even that's kind of a gray area too. I mean, some of our brew pubs will have food trucks from time to time, and maybe they aren't necessarily making money themselves on the sale of food, but in that particular time, they are a restaurant, kind of. And I just think this is kind of a sledgehammer approach to enforcing, or forcing, bad bar owners to obey the law. And we have a lot of good businesses out there that do card, and they are, in control of their customers. I just seem to think this is a little heavy-handed.
Emily?
yeah, well, I had a question and then a comment. My question was, Travis, we want to discuss this. Usually you recommend we make a motion and then discuss, or can we just discuss freely now?
No, you can certainly discuss freely.
Okay.
I was simply pointing out that, like the last meeting where the mayor council compensation, you can discuss and motion to table later, or if after discussion, council wants to move the item one way or the other, feel free. That's
Okay.
all I was saying.
All right, so my comment would be, I just want to be cognizant and appreciate the police department's efforts to curb underage drinking, but I also agree with Kirk that it seems like a sledgehammer approach, especially when many of our bars are in some ways acting as community centers for those events that happen like between 5 and quite honestly 10, where there are food trucks, where there's live music, where there's trivia and bingo. And I I do have concerns about limiting that to just people 21 and over. And so I guess if it was me, I would want to see some substantial changes to this before we were to consider passing it. One such idea would be after 10 p.m. And again, open for discussion, but I think just a blanket statement of no one under 21 puts a lot of, as Kirk really rightly said, some of our really well-established establishments who are doing great community work in kind of a stronghold.
I'd also like, Chief Tyne, would you come up and let them know how this came about and what your discussion has been down at the department?
In talking to my patrol officers that predominantly work night shift, they've had major concerns, especially when college is in session, the number of young people that fill our establishments downtown. And this is prior to 10 o'clock as well as after 10 o'clock. And I wouldn't say, this is in no way, shape, or form saying that the bar owners are bad owners. What they're saying is that oftentimes the bars get so full, they don't have enough manpower to properly keep in control the attendees in the bar. Some of the young people are bringing beer or alcohol in their cars and then walking it in, so bootlegging, if you will. And it will take an hour or two for the bartender to recognize, wait, we don't even sell that kind of booze here, what are you doing? And then try to kick them out after they've been consuming for a couple hours, and we end up with drunken brawls. And we're talking about 18-year-olds who are leaving home for the first time, oftentimes, and maybe find themselves in a bad situation with friends downtown. These are not the calls we're getting sent to at the establishments that you're referring to, where there are food trucks and trivia going on. It's a different type of clientele, and there are some special caveats within the ordinance that's been drafted that allows for special events or other things that the council could consider, of course. But it's really ultimately us trying to take a stand against the substance abuse and the alcohol abuse predominantly for these young people under the age of 21 that end up in these establishments. Our guys feel powerless. When I have 2 people on duty and the bar has 100 to 150 people in it, there's really very limited abilities for them to enforce anything. Whereas if there is that under 21 ordinance and they walk in, they can just start asking for IDs, grabbing IDs, talking to people, and problem solving too. If we've made one mistake and we're in there underage, let's not make a second one and get in a car and drive. Let's help problem solve and get you that safe ride, and kind of use that as a learning curve as well, I guess, if you will. County is fully aware of our efforts here, and they support those efforts and recognize as we have an effort to try to press down on the underage drinking here, that may spill out into the county, and they're well prepared to step up and enhance and help us in our efforts as well.
Have you seen, like, in other areas where there has been a stipulation as far as a 10 o'clock breakoff point?
I have not seen that. What I have found is the more areas where you allow the ordinance to be swayed one way or the other, the less clear it becomes for people. So usually very consistent and very clear is better. But again, we will take anything that's a help to us in enforcement and public safety as a step in the right direction. And we can continue to work on that and navigate down this road together, in the times to come, but at least a start.
If I remember correctly, Coralville, down by Iowa City, Coralville has a 10 o'clock curfew. I think that theirs kicks in where nobody under the age of 21 in a bar.
Okay.
So that would be something that could actually be considered if you're,
Correct,
looking to
yeah.
adjust it. So.
Mayor, I think Julie, that's a bar owner, is here. If you're interested in speaking, can we hear from you?
Sure.
Thank you, Chief.
Hey, everybody.
Could you just say your name, your address, and then...
Julie Simeon, I'm at 810 Linden, but the bar that I own is your place right here downtown. And I kind of put the question out to our community in the bar, and it's super mixed. As a bar owner, this is a total hardship because we are gonna have to hire more people every shift to be able to cart at the door, and we're a tiny place that keeps the lights on, so hiring more people is going to be hard. I also, sorry to get emotional about this, but I also have been approached by multiple parents who have said multiple times, thank you so much for being a safe place that our kids can go to to be able to drink or not drink, and hang out with their friends on the weekend. And that goes away, those 19 and 20-year-olds that are in there. Now, to be fair, would it make my life a lot easier if it was 21 at the door and done with it? Absolutely. So that's why I'm saying it's kind of a teeter-totter for us. But I also think it's kind of shady to bring this up when the 20% of the community that is most affected can't be here to talk to you about it. So all of the Luther students, maybe we've got a couple hundred on campus right now, and they don't even know that this is going on, so they can't come and say, hey, make any kind of deal you want, but not this. And I'm not purporting to speak for the Luther kids either. I just know I'm a Luther alum. I know what I did when I was 19, and I would have been upset. So anyway, the biggest thing for me is that it's a hardship on the bar. I think I've looked through the ordinance a couple of times now, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but we do have underage bartenders also, and it looks like they're okay to be working, but they can't stay after their shift, which is also problematic for us for a couple of reasons. 3 of our sons work at our bar, and so they can't sit and have a soda with dad when he's on shift or with brother when he's on shift or whatever. I realize you can be there if your parents are there, so that helps things a little bit, but there's that. Anna Wren can't come to the bar and walk in and do her homework while she waits for me to get off shift. And the thing about the liquor license with the outdoor space, from what I understand, Pulpit would be okay, Nordic Fest would be okay, Trivia Night would be okay, and Lawn Chair Night would be okay, but what about my patio? We have a patio in the back that we don't serve booze in the patio except for at Nordic Fest, but our liquor license covers that space. So can under 21s sit back there? I have lots of questions. And I think the other thing that's a little bit shady, and I feel bad that they're not represented here either, Luther safety and security and residents' life are gonna face some very big challenges if this happens. And they are not here to speak about that also, which I think is a little. So I would encourage you to table this or move it to the next time or whatever, and let those people know so that they can have a voice in this, because they're the ones that it really affects. For us personally, we love actually having the police come in. It makes our job a lot easier when they just kind of meander through. It's great. And we don't serve underagers, knowingly anyway. So that having said all of this, we are fully in support of supporting our police force. And we've called them before to say, like, hey, how should we handle this situation? Because there's nothing in the law about this. So we want to continue to have a good relationship with them as well. So if this is really what has to happen, we'll make do. But I just, again, want to say that the biggest thing for us is going to be a financial hardship in hiring extra staff.
I think I certainly can appreciate both sides, looking at both sides of the issue. Currently, how do you look to see if underage people are drinking in there? You've got some you're going to know, but how do you determine that? Do you, after a while, when it starts getting more, do you ask again for license, or how do you maintain that in the bar?
Right, so we do wristbands on weekend nights. At our bar, it's not an issue. This is really not an issue except for Friday and Saturday nights. And on Friday and Saturday nights, then we card when they come to the bar. Like at Nordic Fest, when we had a line of 75 people out the door, then we put someone at the door to do that, just to make it easier on our bartenders going in. But that was Nordic Fest, and that's when we can make some money throughout the summer that is dead, right? Nordic Fest is our saving grace in the summer. So we card when they come to the bar, and if they pass the scan and they look like the person that is on the ID, obviously, then they get a wristband, and nobody under 21 gets a wristband. And then if it is packed, like I said, we have a teeny bar. So if it's packed and we're wall-to-wall people, then one of the bartenders will go out and just basically surf through the crowd and notice, like the chief said, we don't actually sell Leinenkugels in a can. Like, at least use your brain if you're gonna try to cheat it, right? Or we'll find the little shooters, or they'll bring them in their pockets. And there's nothing that we can do about that except for kick them out and tell them that it's not okay. And that does happen. But again, we try to, especially the first couple of weeks of the school year, we do hire extra bartenders or extra staff to really kind of be to show them that we're serious about it. And that if they want to come and hang out and dance or hang out with their buds, that it's okay as long as they're following the rules.
Okay. I think, I certainly appreciate this being brought forward for opening up discussion. We hear the overuse of alcohol by minors all the time. That being said, too, and I think as far as setting up communication, with the P department or, the council too, is what's the best way to, not to just either yes or no, or to study it further.
And I do have just a couple of comments that I'd be okay with reading if you're cool with it. Most of the comments that we got were very black and white, like I hate it or I love it, not on the fence like we are. But one of the people who responded to me said, it's very targeted to the college population. That college population has lost the closest to campus establishment. This loss means they have to go farther and have the potential to bring more hazards into play. Where do we as a city want these students to help blow off steam? Mm-hmm. And this is from someone that I did not expect that from at all. And then we had a couple of other people that said, I live by the college, and if that means that less kids are going to be walking on my lawn at 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm okay with that. But I don't think that's what it means. I think it just means that the problem shifts to a different place, and that is really Luther Res Life and Luther Safety and Security.
I need to inform council, too, that Chief Tyne and I are going to be meeting with Robert and the president at the end of August as well. Clearly, this is going to be a piece, too, to bring forth, because, your college kids, that's right. If you're underage, you need to learn what's right and what's not right, too.
Right.
Okay, council.
I guess when I was thinking about it, I know that Luther does have a Class C permit as well. And when you're at a Luther event, it's mixed from 18 to 23 and then staff, but their parents aren't there. And so it's going to provide some challenges, I think, to dining services, events, or community day, or whatnot, when they were serving alcohol in the past.
Would that fall under the event piece where they're talking?
No, it's private property. It's not a city event. I don't know how that would play out.
As it's drafted, I don't think Luther would fall under a bar classification, because again, over
But-
50% of their revenue would have to be derived from the sale of alcohol, and
Is it 50% of their revenue has to be by alcohol, or is it 50% is food and then it's not a bar?
no, if over 50% of their revenue is derived from alcohol sales, then it's a bar.
Gotcha.
Annual.
Yeah. So
Okay, so if, let's just say traveling tapster, just because that's an interesting thing to me. Traveling tapster gets hired by Rotary to go out and do a Rotary event, not on city land, but a party. They are a civic organization having a fundraiser. They would not trigger this?
So that would be, in the ordinance, we talk about the special event. Excuse me. So for some special events, depending on if it's an enclosed area, I would have to defer a bit to John. So if Traveling Tapster is actually the licensee,
They would be the holder of the license.
correct? So if they're the licensee, and it's,
And 50%, that's what they do.
right, correct.
So
they're
100% of their, yeah.
So for them, this should kick in, but they don't have property, like they don't have
A premises?
a premises, correct?
Were you done? Sorry, it was hard to read.
No, you're okay. You can go ahead.
Okay, just as I've been listening here, I think this is a really unique and interesting opportunity that we have in Decorah to put together a group of people to think about a better way to do this, right? So what would it look like to have the police chief, the mayor, some bar owners and some Luther students look at the problem, right? We have a problem of underage drinking and the safety risks of those things. And I mean, quite honestly, I think we can all say that one of the reasons Roscoe's had trouble with their liquor license is because of underage drinking. And I wonder if Luther students knew that they have an impact on people's livelihoods when they choose to break the law. What does it look like to try to figure out, can there be some kind of management other than to just say, sorry, no one under 21 allowed in a bar? So I guess I'm for tabling this. I don't think it's ready to go. I don't feel comfortable with it as it is right now. I'm not opposed to doing something, but I don't know what that something is. And I guess I would want more input, and I want to give voice to people who are directly impacted in this decision.
Just for a point of clarity, it's on here as considering an ordinance, so we do have to do some type of an action with it, is that correct?
Well, you can, yeah, and one of those actions could be to table it.
Right.
No,
Yeah,
but that's
and
what I'm saying.
and the chair-
I'm just
there has to be
clarifying
some
that,
action,
yeah.
otherwise
And
it
the chair of the
dies.
Public Safety Committee just volunteered that her committee's going to take it up, right? Emily? Yeah? Yeah, all right.
I am totally, actually, I don't think that's a bad idea at all, Ross, and I would be happy to do that. The question is, I'm not sure where our committees stand. Is this a work session thing, or I think it would be great for the Public Safety Committee to invite others to have a community conversation about this at that point.
Hadley will make a motion to table and refer to the Public Safety Committee.
Luce will second.
Actually, in looking at
Just a
that-
minute, just a minute. Motion made by Hadley, seconded by Luce, to table it and have it moved to public safety. Now, discussion.
You know, that last line that says if the liquor license includes an outdoor space, you know, drop that, that is not enclosed structure or fenced. If you drop that part out, the not enclosed structure, that's going to eliminate the tap rooms and your place and any of those others.
Pulpit for their outdoor seating areas.
Have an outdoor. Dixie's has an outdoor.
G&G.
Toppling has outdoor. So I mean, you eliminate that, and I would be fine with it then from there on.
There are a lot of cold months.
Well, you have a lot of.
One other thing I want to remind all of you too, and I'm the parent of three fairly recent Luther alumni. My oldest daughter graduated in 2009, my second in 2011, my third in 2018, and I know how they feel about this, and I know, you know, that they would disagree with it because the Decorah has some limitations in terms of socializing anyway. And I think that you know, students need to have some freedom and some ability to socialize with one another outside of just on the campus. And also, I want to remind you all that Luther students are your constituents as well. They are allowed to vote in our elections, and they are of age to vote in our elections up to age 18 or after they're 18. So I feel pretty strongly about this because I think, I mean, obviously there are times when we need to, you know, address some problems in some problem areas. But like I said, this seems rather heavy-handed as it sits, and I welcome the opportunity to talk a little bit more about it to make it work, perhaps.
I think, I appreciate your comments. I wouldn't go as far as heavy-handed, but I think it does open up, I mean, it brings to the table that we need to be looking at how we can help lower the alcohol among minors. So I look forward to it, at least having more people involved in the discussion on how it can be communicated, both for information to out to people, whether it's under minors or whether it's Luther people, or how we work with that.
I guess
Any other?
I'd like
Just
to-
a minute.
I'd
We
like
got
to make
more.
one comment in reference to this. I'm probably the only person on the council here that has actually worked in law enforcement. And I want to speak on behalf of the people that are requesting this on law enforcement side. It is a very difficult process to go in and do bar checks in these bars. As Chief talked about, some of these bars will have 100 or in excess of 100 people in there, and you come in there with 2 officers and you're trying to maintain control of this place, as well as get to the truth of where this stands. You come to a table where they might have 4 people sitting there and there's 4 beers there, but as they see the police come in, that 1 beer is going to slide over to the people that are of age, and you have to try to determine who's been drinking and who hasn't. It becomes very problematic for the officers at that point in time, where this ordinance that we would establish would make it much easier for the officers. So I'd just like to speak out on behalf of the officers, and I see why they're wanting to do this.
But just from a gamification standpoint, go ahead. Sorry, Emily, go ahead. You were in line.
No, I was, what I wanted to say is I actually really appreciate that this topic is being brought up, right? I mean, I think that's, kudos to the officers for saying, hey, this is not working as it is now. And I really do appreciate that. And I do think we can find a solution that's a win-win. So I guess that's what I'm hoping for. And I'll leave it at that.
Okay,
I'm just going to let it go until we're in committee.
okay.
Thank
That
you.
sounds good. And then also, Chief Tyne and I will report back with our discussion with Luther as well. Okay, roll call.
Hadley?
Aye.
Against, to table and send to committee.
That's correct.
Luce?
Aye.
Zittergruen?
Aye.
Johnson?
Aye.
Chisel? Neal?
Aye.
Olson?
Aye.
Thank you very much. And we can communicate as well. I appreciate the work that all your officers are doing in this endeavor. Okay, consider a resolution to allow the city clerk finance officer to make needed payments that are due before the next regular council meeting. Carrie?
This is just a resolution. It has been through Finance Committee. This is just to give us a little more room. It's been going on, but we just wanted to update the resolution to give us the room so we're just getting a lot of late payments, the fees, and just this way we can get the payments out sooner so we're not getting those fees is probably the biggest part.
I'd move for approval of the resolution.
Second?
Motion made by Chisel, seconded by Olson to approve the resolution. Any discussion? In hearing none, roll call.
Chisel?
Aye.
Olson?
Aye.
Hadley?
Aye.
Johnson?
Aye.
Neal?
Aye.
Luce?
Aye.
Zittergruen?
Aye.
Consider issuance of City of Decorah goal-setting requests for proposals. Can you give background on this and information, please?
Yes, so if council remembers, way back when I was early in my tenure here in Decorah, we held a goal-setting session after an election, but before the new council members took office. And I had explained to council that is my ideal time for a council goal-setting session, especially a facilitated one, because if you have off-going council members, they've got institutional knowledge to talk about what has been done in recent history, what's been accomplished, things of that nature, as well as, of course, what should be a council consideration moving forward. This also allows for council members elect after an election to participate as well. And again, help talk about what should be the council's goals moving forward. We did not issue an RFP last time because I came on board in September, and so we tried to move pretty quickly. So the whole premise behind this RFP is more or less to hammer down the date. So I have in the RFP November 27th. Sorry, my earlier background note said September 27th, but I did say that's the Monday following Thanksgiving. This way, that it's the fourth Monday of the month, which is usually what council reserves if we're going to hold a work session. And then this way, council members are aware of what that target date is, as well as any respondent to the RFP, whether it's Upper Explorer Land, Midwest Municipal Consulting, Callahan Consulting, I actually had another consulting firm reach out to me today, saw it was on the agenda, expressed interest in it. So this way, everyone just knows this is the date that we want to hold our large group goal-setting session.
Got two questions. The last goal-setting session that you referred to, we did that in-house. That was not a,
That was an off-election year cycle. So
I gotcha.
ideally, I like to hold a facilitated one, because those cost
Gotcha.
money, during an election cycle. And then the off-election year, we did, you're right, Mayor, we did hold another goal-setting session, but that was all done in-house. And that's a goal-setting light, almost.
okay. And what's a possible expenditure for something on this order?
If I remember right, Upper Explorer Land was around 5,000
Okay.
last time.
I think that's what I remember also. Council input?
You just want to throw a not to exceed in there? I mean,
Say that again?
a not to exceed amount?
Well, this wouldn't be a award.
Right.
This is just for
Consider
them
the
to send
date.
us for consideration.
Oh, sorry.
I'll make
Yeah,
a
because you
motion-
would put out an sorry.
I'll make a motion to consider an issuance of the City of Decorah goal-setting request for proposals.
Second.
Motion made by Olson, seconded by Neal. Discussion. Everybody clear? Roll call?
Olson,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Chisel, Luce,
Aye.
Zittergruen,
Aye.
Hadley.
Aye.
A Board of Adjustment vacancy. We had one that Greg Tweet that resigned. And so we are looking for applicants to fulfill the vacancy. And then we put that would be due August 31st.
Correct.
If you have questions or are interested, please call down to City Hall. It's listed also on the city website, I believe.
Yep.
Okay, city manager and department heads.
I'm gonna send it to Andy, because I wanna make sure, with the temperatures where they're at. Go for it, Andy.
Yeah, you maybe seen it in the notes, but swimming pool closed yesterday at 6 o'clock for the season in terms of open swim. Will be open for the next 2 weeks for aqua size and lap swim. But just got to a point here now, and then the hot weather this week, I just kind of wanted to make sure you guys knew we did try and reassess that situation, and Blake checked with all the lifeguards, both the ones that work daily and then also some of the adult lifeguards that are in the community, and also called West Union, New Hampton, Waukon. I think there was 5 communities, to see if there was a way we could somehow put together a safe way to reopen when it's 100 degrees out on Wednesday or whenever this week. And really didn't get any feedback, much interest at all. I know, married to a coach, she doesn't know when she's going to have practice this week, just based off the weather. So kids have schedules that are really not defined right now. They're just kind of going day to day, and it just, so that's our excuse, I guess. I wanted you to know that we tried hard to find a way to be open, but it just wasn't in the cards. And honestly, I mean, at the end of the day, hundreds of kids around water isn't the safest situation, so we're not going to compromise that at all for trying to get a few extra days. And we had a fantastic season. It was great. One of the best I've been involved with in the pool in terms of just kind of smooth sailing throughout the summer. So I think we'll rest on that and call it a season.
I do appreciate that comment. I've also heard from other pools around that have closed a lot earlier than what we have closed.
Certainly, yeah.
Because
we're one
they
of the
didn't
very few
have
that
life.
was open here through yesterday.
There were some that never opened, I don't think.
Yeah.
Kirsten?
I just wanted to appreciate too, Andy, that you guys have kept it open for a couple of weeks for those people to do lap swim and stuff like that. I'm sure those people appreciate that greatly.
Okay, now go back. Do you have anything else?
Oh, I was just gonna point, I really wanna make sure Andy pointed that out tonight, because we understand, with the heat, that is a way that a lot of our residents beat the heat, especially kids. We really tried to make that happen, even with that regional approach that Blake was trying to get done. Thought it was a great attempt, but unfortunately, we weren't able to pull it together.
Cooling sites as far as town, I know the library is open.
They're the most fun and exciting one. I would encourage people.
Yeah, like you know another place?
Yeah.
Is
No.
there other places?
Library is going to be your best setup.
Okay.
Yeah, the river.
Anything else?
Fire station's out here. I can say the river. You're okay with that?
Okay. Okay, moving right along here. Did you have anything else?
I do not, no.
And you didn't? Anybody at the table? Okay. Let's go down to Kurt this time.
Nothing, Mayor.
Ross?
Nothing, Mayor.
Steve?
I've got nothing.
Steve?
Chief, I was interested what you call the little trailer that has the speed indication on it.
Yeah, the speed trailer, yes.
You call it that, the speed trailer?
Yes.
Kudos for getting the speed trailer out in several places in the community, unexpectedly showing up, and I think that helps people be aware of what they're doing. So thank you for following through with that.
Steve Olson. How about
Kirsten.
Kirsten Olson?
Sure. I hate to break the trend.
Yeah, what
I
you
mean,
want,
I was
what
like,
you want.
isn't it Steve?
Too many
Steve and
Steves.
his other brother Steve?
I hate to break the trend of nothing, but I'll just say a couple quick things. My wife and I were down at the state fair representing Northeast Iowa here, not this last weekend, but the weekend before. And again, we had great interest in Northeast Iowa. So I think what makes us realize what a great place we live in and how excited people are to get up here and see it. Second thing is, somebody requested that we have a utility meeting in light of the fact that Alliant is raising their rates again, and they would like to visit the idea of an MEU again as well. Instead of having a utility meeting, I would prefer to just do it as a agenda item on the next council agenda.
Second.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Randy?
I have nothing this evening, Mayor.
Emily?
Yeah, thanks. I was the second person, and I think there's actually two discussion points on the MEU Alliant rate case. So it looks like Alliant has now moved ahead with a rate increase, and they're going to send notices out in September. So the two things actually I think we should discuss is not just the MEU, but in that last rate increase, we as a city intervened with other Decorah users to help, for all practical purposes, bring that rate down. And I think it would be in the city's best interest to look at that again. They haven't unveiled what their actual ask will be, and the legislators changed the rules. So they no longer have to say, so if you remember last time, they were proposing a 25% across the board increase. And then Decorah intervened, and it wound up, I believe, being 18% for residential, 11% for city, municipality, that type of user. This time, they no longer have to give the percent of which they're going to ask for an increase. And in some ways, it's a little bit of a smoke and mirrors in terms of trying to figure out then what that actual impact will be on our own budget. So there are actually two issues to discuss with that Alliant rate increase coming up in September that I'd like to talk about as council. Then the other thing I just wanted to give a shout out to the department heads that I was able to talk to, and apologize to those who I haven't yet gotten to. This summer sent me a whole bunch of surprises and a nice round of COVID at the end. So I will still be contacting department heads, and the poor chief, I haven't even welcomed her in because I've been gone, and then now I sit here with COVID. So, but I will still be reaching out and hopefully finding times that we can get together to talk about your work for the last year and exciting things ahead. So again, my apologies, but a big thanks to Kristen at the library and Mike at the wastewater treatment plant and Chopper. It was fabulous to hear how well our city departments are running and how much they've accomplished in the last year. It's so great to get out and talk to everybody. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Move to approve. How about move to approve?
I approve. We approve.
You guys are so good. Oh, I can't do that. Okay, we're moving in. We do have to move it. Wow, I tried. Okay, we do,
We've got a motion.
we have a motion to go into closed session.
I got a second in there, Mayor.
Okay. Do you need a roll call definitely on that?
Yes.
Roll call?
Chisel. Zittergruen.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Luce.
Aye.
Hadley.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
And